Hey everyone, welcome back to Power Tips. Today we're continuing on in our series talking about the 2023 Release Wave 2 updates. Last week we talked about sales updates because that's what most of us work in all the time. And then today we're talking about customer service updates. So let's jump right into our tips. Heidi, I think you're going to be kicking us off.
Sounds good. So I took a look at the area of the release notes that's targeted for improving agent experience. There are a lot of little updates, so I thought I'd throw them all on one slide and we can talk about what they are. The first update is that users will be able to pin and unpin records in the timeline. I think this is cool because it's very easy for things to get lost in the timeline. If you've enabled your system for early access of the release wave, you can test this out now in Sandbox. General availability of this one comes in October, as with everything on this slide. The second one is technically an omni-channel update. So if you're using omni-channel, this one's pretty neat. Live chat and voice calls will appear in your inbox workspace, which is very cool. There's going to be a new section in your inbox called Live, so you can easily access these and find these when you want. No public preview or early access information there. It will just automatically appear for you in October. Then we have new call control UI with intuitive icons for voice. I have a screenshot here in the top right-hand corner of what that looks like. Small update, but I think it's nice to improve the size of those icons and have labels there. So there's no reason you could do the wrong thing at this point. It looks very simple. We also have resizing of the communication panel for channels. That's in the customer service workspace. I don't personally use it, but hey, that must have been a pain point. It must have been annoying to have that communication panel. I know from reading the release notes, it says it only opens when you're actively using it. So you can't really access it before or after, just during. So with this update, you're able to access it when you wish. Related to that is the one underneath it, accessibility improvements to the communication panel, specifically calling out that you will be able to minimize it on the left side of your customer service workspace. So a lot of tiny little improvements, but that's everything that's aimed at the users themselves. I also want to point out this overview page. When you're looking at the release notes, sometimes there are little nuggets in the overview page that don't get their own call out. And I noticed too that I think some of you will be excited about. Number one, option to switch to dark mode. People love dark mode. I don't, but I know other
I
people
don't.
do. So you're going to be able to switch to dark mode. The customer service workspace app will support this. So yay for dark mode fans. The second thing I see here, again, these have no dates around them. I have no idea when they're coming, but it's included here. Compose emails using an improved Outlook-like experience. You'll note this is not in the section of Copilot, so it's not related to Copilot. Again, there's nothing in here. It doesn't have its own page. I have no idea what that is actually going to look like, but I thought they were important to call out. What do you guys think about those updates that are coming here for the agents themselves?
I mean, first and foremost, the dark mode. It's funny, I was off for a few days before this call. Came back this morning, my Outlook was in dark mode, and I immediately was like, how do I switch it back? So I'm with you. I don't love dark mode, but I know lots of people do, so I think that's a great change. The only other comment I have is the icons. I love that concept. I just hope that they're consistent with other applications, and if you're using just make sure you're using the same Outlook icons or whatever icons you have. I hope that that's what they're using for those, because there's nothing worse than clicking something that you think should do something because in a different app it does something else and then it does something completely different. So hopefully the app icons are consistent.
I like this easy pin and unpin records. I think the pinning records on your just on your recently viewed, that's like one of the easiest and so helpful features, you know. So I'm excited to see that spreading out over more areas.
Agree.
Well, and on that note, the I picked a couple of quick ones here. The what you've missed, which we were talking offline, if you will, before the call started. We thought this was a thing, so maybe it was in some other components and apps, but this was one that jumped out at me again, in part because I thought we could do it, but we can allow people to see what they've missed. So this is, I think, really handy in scenarios where you've got multiple people on a case or something. So being able to look in the timeline and see things that are new or that are that haven't yet been opened, and you can kind of scroll through and pick out the ones you want to read, which I think is a really handy feature. Again, thought it was there, but if it's not and it's coming, then that's a great add. It sounds like it's coming to early access in July 2023. You see it at the bottom, and then GA in October, which is awesome. Join me on Teams. So the push to get folks connecting in Teams is continuing. So I love this one click. So they claim one click ability to send something to the customer and have a link directly to them and have the person jump on a Teams call and then get into more detail, screen share and whatnot. I think that's a great add, right? Anything we can do to minimize clicks, because we know people hate to click things in the systems, and anything that we can to get us FaceTime with the customer, right? Give us the ability to be on a call with them versus a chat or something like that, which is awesome. So this is an exciting one.
I like that it's all in the same screen too, right?
Yeah.
You're not in Teams to make the call and then jumping back to Dynamics. It's all kind of fluid in one screen.
Yeah, and
That's
those
awesome.
screenshots are really small on here, but if you go into the release guide and look through, the images are right there. I took them right from the documentation, so you can get a better sense of what they say, because it's kind of hard to see on here. But basically, you click the button and then it says we've sent a link to the customer, and you can join the call from here, and you can see it down in the bottom corner of that second screenshot. So that's a cool one. And then as a Canadian, I would be remiss if I did not call out the fact that they're extending emergency calling to Canada. Admittedly, I didn't really know exactly what that meant and what the context was in the realm of this work, but I read through it. I mean, again, as a Canadian, I think it's important to call this out, that it's important to have the ability to send location and everything to emergency services, especially as we were just talking about, in scenarios, emergency situations, and things that unfold, like what's happening in Hawaii right now, which is horrible. Having the ability to pass emergency information on an emergency call over right away is really critical. So this is coming not until February, so a little ways off yet, but an important feature nonetheless.
I'd also like to call out that you use dark mode for this one, my friend.
I know. That's a good call. Fair enough. I don't hate it. I just don't use it myself.
Oh, Kylie, your buddy's there.
Perfect. My little buddy joined for my section. So there's Lady Godiva. We can kind of see her, living her best life. Anyways, I wanted to talk about a few quick Copilot features. And quick note, there's a whole section in the release notes with like 10 features related to Copilot and AI innovation. So make sure you're checking those out. I'm just going to call out two of them really quickly. This first one that we talked about is summarizing your cases with Copilot. I wanted to call this out because this is the same thing we talked about on sales last week, right? In sales, we had summarize your accounts and your opportunities and something else, I think. And we kind of assumed, I bet case summary is coming as well. And look, here it is. We can summarize our cases, easy, natural language, easy to read summary. We can regenerate that summary as additional activities are happening and other things are going on. And we can kind of be extending that, and then we can integrate this in our forms as well. So it's not just on the out of the box form, but any form we can integrate it so we can see the Copilot summary. So I think that'll be great. And then our other feature I wanted to call out here is basically Copilot for Copilot, right? So this is in the notes as viewing analytics for Copilot's impact on your business. So basically checking the active user, checking when Copilot responses are used, what agents are rating. Are they thumbs up or thumbs down on some of the Copilot items that are coming? And then also looking at your KPIs. So how is this impacting your KPIs around average handle time, number of days to close cases, email response time, things like that. So basically a dashboard I assume for our administrators, so that they'll be able to see if Copilot's being used, how it's being used, and if it's helpful, right? Which I think will help us know how to kind of push Copilot for more of our users and what kind of features we should be asking for. So both those features I talked about will be general availability in October with the release wave. So exciting. Awesome. What do you guys think about that?
I like the Copilot for Copilot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting way where maybe you can start to get an ROI on some of your OpenAI spend, which is
Yeah.
neat.
And
I
even just seeing
mean,
what people don't use. And
Yeah.
that's always to me the most important thing. I love that you can see what people are using, but to me it's always more important to see what people aren't using, to dig into
yeah.
why, because they're there for them to use. So if they're not using them, we should probably dig into why that is.
And yeah, I think like we're going to show percent of responses used, right? And if we're not, if you see that at 5% when you've been pushing users to use it, then it will tell you what you need to push them on. And just for the record, it's not called Copilot for Copilot. It's called View Analytics for Copilot on your business or something like that. Even though I think it should be Copilot for Copilot.
I like it.
A quick shout out to the person who wrote the sample text in the previous slide. Just the little call out that the customer said they turned it on again, or turned it off and turned it on again, but it didn't help. I thought that was a good little nugget of comedic entry there. It's awesome.
That's funny.
Very cool. Great stuff coming.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for sharing our favorite tips. And for all of our viewers, let us know down in the comments what your favorite features are called out in this release. If there's any items that you've already tried out, let us know, and let us know what you want to hear next. I think we're going to try and get customer service and field service and, oh wait, this was customer service, marketing and field service scheduled coming up, and let us know what else you want to hear. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.